You got to love that, haven't you? At first, I couldn't work out what he'd said, and I listened to it again. Incredible. Absolutely amazing. I think that we're going to have to take a look at this because this is extraordinary. There's so many parts of the game that are impacted by this. Let's first of all think about Phil Foden, who we just heard him a moment ago saying, I don't like to dive. I like to try and stay on my feet. And how brilliant is it that a young player is trying to be honest? He tried to stay on his feet, but he couldn't stay on his feet, and they still didn't give the penalty.
He better stick to that, though. It's a big statement to come out with that's moving forward, because if he does end up diving, can you imagine the headlines he's going to cause straight away? But we said it last night. I couldn't stop laughing for half an hour after because the commentator, I think it's Inchcliffe, wasn't it? He said, no contact. There were no contact whatsoever. I mean, he put a boot through him. It was ridiculous. I could not stop laughing.
There's definitely contact, without a doubt. And actually, you raise a good point, because having said that, if Phil Foden then does dive, actually, I wouldn't blame him. Because you imagine what's going through his head now. He's thinking, well, it was tight at that point, and Southampton have played well at that point. They weren't given the penalty, so should he have gone down and stayed down and therefore made John Moss's mind up for him?
Didn't Sterling on the bench say, just stay down? I think that was one of the things.
Well, that'll be the advice, but you can't blame him now. Given what happened last night, you can't blame him, can you?
No, I'm not. And I said that the problem he had last night was he fancied a goal himself, didn't he? He thought he was going to get up and be able to just place it in the net. But it went a little bit further away than he expected. He got straight back up, thought, I want to go myself, and then realised he couldn't get to it. But then for him not to give the penalty after you saw it on the video, honestly, Aid, I found that amazing. From the first moment I saw it in real speed, I thought it was a penalty. And then when they slowed it down and showed it all for the VAR to have a look at, it was 100% a penalty.
It's definitely a penalty. Let me give you a little theory I've got on it. People are attacking John Moss for it, and in some ways I can understand that. He was the referee on the field at the time. I think he's trying to play the advantage. So the move is still active. City is still on the attack. The goalkeeper has come out. Foden is still in possession of the ball. I think he's trying to play the advantage, and it goes on and on and on. It's a long time till the ball goes out, at which point he's then got a decision to make, John Moss. Now, can I really... Is it right for me to give the penalty now after all this time? Has too much time passed for me to go back and give that penalty? And in his head, he's thinking, well, I know the VAR will check that. So I think he's blameless in this, John Moss, because I think he's thinking to himself, if I don't give the penalty, then it's fair enough because VAR will check and they are going to give the penalty. In his mind, he knows they're going to give the penalty. Now, they've had a look at it. I don't know what they've seen, but this is my problem with VAR. Some people, I heard somebody on H&J earlier saying, no, it's not the VAR, it's not the technology, it's the people running it. Do you honestly think if you ship in a load more different officials, it's going to be any different? It's not that these particular officials are a load of rubbish. We've seen various incidents at the weekend, the Madrid derby at the weekend, there was a VAR problem. I wasn't particularly impressed with the VAR for the Dortmund game against Seville. There's all sorts of issues. We have this view in this country that this is the only country that has a problem with VAR. It's not true. Slowing it down, that incident there, the Phil Foden penalty incident, by slowing it down, by watching it over and over and over again, trying to find something, and if you see the slightest thing, like they've misinterpreted, Phil Foden basically kicks the ball onto McCarthy, so that makes the VAR think, oh, McCarthy's got a touch, therefore it's not a penalty. Just don't use common sense. Have a good look at it, once, maybe twice, and if it's pretty clear and obvious, then give the correct decision. Is that not the way they should be doing it?
Of course it is. And I don't think there's any real criticism of the referee. Listen, a referee can miss that in real time, in quick speed. We thought it, watching it, but that was our opinion. And he saw it and he just thought, oh, well, because he got back up so quick, he actually thought it was just a slip, didn't he, from Foden? He could easily have been fooled into that.
I thought the ref was playing advantage.
I just think you were fooled by the fact that he got up so quick. His buddy thought he would have slipped. And they get the benefit of the doubt, right? It always goes that way. But then to go to the VAR and they look at that, they only have to look at it once and they can see it's a penalty.
That's the way it should be.
And that's the way it should have been. The decision should have been made immediately. Job done. Penalty finished.
VAR, I think by trying to justify themselves, they're watching it over and over again.
Yeah.
They're looking for everything. And one of the reasons they're doing that is because they know that in TV analysis, punditry analysis afterwards, fans on social media, if there is something that they miss because they've only had a brief look at it or once or twice looked at it, then that will be highlighted. That will be highlighted. That they will then be held to account on whether there should have been a penalty or not. So I think that this is a watershed moment. I've been saying we shouldn't have had VAR from the start. I am wondering whether people are changing their minds on it. Is it even possible for us to have VAR removed from football? Maybe even just for a season till they fine-tune it, because clearly they were not ready to bring in VAR.